Welcome back to Moto World. Today, we're diving into the history and firepower of one of the most unique and massive tanks to ever roll onto a battlefield, the T-28 Super Heavy Tank. This beast wasn't just built for war, it was designed to punch through fortresses. With its enormous weight, thick armor, and distinctive multi-track design, the T-28 stood apart from every other American tank ever made. Buckle up, because this is not your average battlefield machine. The story of the T-28 starts in the aftermath of World War II, when the U.S. military realized that a different kind of tank might be necessary for future conflicts. The idea was to create a super heavy tank that could break through the Siegfried Line A, that heavily fortified German defensive wall. But World War II ended before the T-28 could be deployed, and what remained was a legendary prototype that shocked everyone who laid eyes on it. So what exactly made the T-28 so special? First off, this wasn't a regular tank, it was a true land battleship. Weighing in at nearly 95 tons, the T-28 was among the heaviest armored vehicles the United States ever built. Its massive weight came from its thick armor, designed to withstand direct hits from high-powered anti-tank guns. In fact, its frontal armor was up to 12 inches thick. That's more than some bunkers. But here's where things get even more interesting, the T-28 had 4 tracks instead of the usual 2. This unique setup was created to help distribute its massive weight and reduce ground pressure, making it slightly easier to maneuver. The outer 2 tracks could even be removed and towed behind the tank, allowing it to travel in a more compact mode for transport. When it was time to fight, the crew could reinstall those tracks for added stability and traction. Now, let's talk firepower. The T-28 wasn't equipped with a rotating turret like most tanks. Instead, it featured a fixed casemate design with a massive 105mm T5E1 gun mounted right into the hull. This gun had incredible range and firepower, capable of penetrating bunkers and destroying heavily armored enemy positions. While it lacked the flexibility of turret rotation, its sheer destructive capability made it ideal for a specific mission, cracking open fortified enemy defenses. Mobility, however, was never its strong suit. Powered by a 500-horsepower gasoline engine, the T-28 had a maximum speed of just 8 miles per hour. That's right, this tank was slow. But it wasn't designed for fast attacks or flanking maneuvers. It was designed to go straight through enemy defenses, absorb enemy fire, and return it with devastating force. Inside, the T-28 was operated by a crew of 4, a commander, a driver, a gunner, and a loader. Given the fixed gun, the crew had to aim the entire tank to fire accurately, a challenge on the battlefield, especially considering its limited maneuverability. Still, the crew was well protected inside the fortress-like armor. Only 2 prototypes of the T-28 were ever built. The end of World War II and the changing nature of warfare meant that the super heavy tank concept was quickly becoming outdated. Air superiority, faster tanks, and new anti-tank weapons made lumbering beasts like the T-28 less practical. But despite never seeing combat, the T-28 left a lasting mark on military history. In fact, the T-28 was once thought lost to time. For years, one of the prototypes was believed to have been scrapped until it was rediscovered in a field at Fort Belvoir, Virginia, in the 1970s. Today, that surviving prototype is preserved and displayed at the National Armor and Cavalry Museum at Fort Moore, Georgia. It stands as a monument to the extreme engineering ambitions of the U.S. military during and after World War II. The T-28 is often compared to the German Maus A, another super heavy tank concept. While the Maus was heavier and had a rotating turret, both shared the same philosophy: overwhelming firepower and unstoppable armor. But like the Maus, the T-28 proved that sometimes bigger isn't always better. War had changed, and mobility, air support, and precision became more important than brute force alone. Still, there's something undeniably fascinating about the T-28. Its sheer size, its outlandish design, and its role in tank development make it one of the most interesting vehicles ever created. It wasn't just a tank, it was a symbol of what could be achieved when engineers pushed the limits of possibility. For fans of military machines, the T-28 is a dream. It's a tank that never fought, but one that continues to command attention decades later. Whether you're into tanks for the history, the mechanics, or the awe factor, the T-28 ticks all the boxes. And that's it for today's deep dive into the mighty T-28 Super Heavy tank. If you enjoyed this journey into armored history, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Moto World. We've got plenty more steel beasts and battlefield legends coming your way. Until next time, keep your engines roaring and your turrets turning. This is Moto World, signing off.